Where we're standing today is about to become the new home for the International Bluegrass Music Museum, and we're thrilled that you guys are going to be a part of it. This museum, once it is done, is going to be the world's foremost collection of bluegrass memorabilia, artifacts, music recordings, and it's going to be a safe environment for generations to enjoy for years to come. And it's going to be a state-of-the-art building. It's full-scale Bluegrass Music Museum, and it'll be the largest one in the world. It'll have a 450-seat concert hall, along with recording studios, an outdoor concert venue. It'll have an expansive gift shop, research library, teaching rooms, and a rooftop restaurant to enjoy the views of the Ohio River in our downtown Owensboro as it continues to redevelop. So we're excited about you guys being here today and joining us in this. Obviously, a project of this magnitude doesn't happen overnight. A project of this magnitude doesn't happen with the idea or the work of a single person. There's a lot of different folks and a lot of different organizations that have come together to make this happen and brought us to the point that we're at here today to celebrate the groundbreaking.
Well, we did it. It took a lot of hard work by many to bring us to this day. Our journey began many years ago with a trip to Dubuque, Iowa, and Terry reminded me of this the other day, to visit their riverfront and convention center. During this visit, we were told, don't build your convention center too small, and find your niche, something that will set you apart from other communities. Dubuque had the Museum of the Mississippi River, which I believe they're in the process of expanding to the Museum of Rivers. We listened and didn't build the convention center too small, as you can see. And we found our niche. Ours would be Bluegrass and the museum. Terry Woodward knew it. Terry knew it all along. But it would take some of us a little longer to come to that realization. We eventually did, and off we went. Fast forward to today. Owensboro will be the heart of bluegrass music with this new center. Its history will reside here. Its musicians will be honored here. Its music will be taught here. And tourists will come from around the world to visit here. My dream is to be in Europe someday and have someone ask me, where are you from? And when I say Owensboro, their response will be, oh yeah, the capital of bluegrass. I can tell you when that happens, I'm going to check that off my bucket list. Nothing has happened over the past few years without the creation of partnerships, and this project is no exception. We have so many to thank. First, the International Bluegrass Museum Board, the state of Kentucky, and former Governor Beshear. He's in Colorado and he could not be with us today. Neither of the governors could be because of prior commitments. He was hesitant at first, and Terry will attest to that, but came to realize what this would mean for Owensboro and the Commonwealth of Kentucky. The Davis County Fiscal Court, who have partnered with us on many projects, including this one. Commissioner Charlie Caslin is here, I believe, and Commissioner Mike Coker. You guys raise your hands. Thank you so much for all your support. And what a great job they are doing with ROMP, in supporting ROMP in Yellow Creek Park. Charlie, well done to both you, Mike, and the entire fiscal court. And there are many others, and I think Terry will probably allude to some of them. But a special thanks has to be given to Mr. Bluegrass, Terry Woodward, for his hard work over the years in promoting bluegrass music and making it the attraction it is today and will be in the future of our city. Terry, where is Terry? Thank you, buddy. Also to Ed Ray, our city attorney and assistant city manager, who is our project manager on this facility, for his hard work in dealing with all the many details of a project like this. Ed Ray, thank you so much, buddy. Thank you. This center, when combined with our riverfront and downtown, will make Owensboro unique throughout the world. Owensboro, you should be proud of your city, and I know you are. We have found our niche. Thank you.
Groundbreakings make you smile, but ribbon cuttings make you smile more. Perrin Construction will celebrate its 70th anniversary in 2017. And over those 70 years, virtually hundreds of millions of dollars of projects have been built by Perrin. Education facilities, hospitals, other medical facilities. And along the way, there's been a few iconic projects. The International Bluegrass Museum is definitely an iconic project. We're very proud to be able to put Perrin's name on this project. In saying that, we have put together a great team of contractors, many of which, the majority of which, are either right here in Owensboro or in close proximity. We're very proud of that. We certainly respect, the end use of this facility. I can promise you we will be diligent in working with Mr. Lawley, Mr. Ray, Mr. Wills of Hafer and the design team, and I can assure you we will deliver you a quality project and a beautiful building. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I know everybody here today is looking forward to that ribbon cutting. It is now my great honor and privilege to introduce the fellow that I've called Mr. Bluegrass. And I've got to tell you, not only has Terry Woodward, like so many here, I saw Jack Wells, and there's others in this audience that have done so much for this city. Terry lives and breathes Owensboro. And, he shows it. He shows it by his commitment, by his investment in this community. And I'm going to share one other comment with you here today before I bring Terry up here. But we were coming back from Frankfurt, and I've got to tell you, this is the most giddy I've ever seen Terry Woodward when we found out that the governor was going to get us $5 million. Terry Woodward, come on up here.
I don't know about that Mr. Bluegrass. I can't pick a lick. Not a lick. Anyway, I've been waiting for this day for a number of years, and what a historic and wonderful day this is for bluegrass music in Owensboro, the region, and the state of Kentucky. Mayor, I'm going to be a little redundant here, but let me thank you for your tireless efforts in making this happen, and not only the Standing City Commission, but the City Commission of the past 8 years have been on board with this project, and obviously it would have never happened without their commitment and their leadership. Also, I would like to thank the hundreds of donors, private donors, for this project. I was going to read all the names, but we would be here till dark. But we did run an ad in the paper today and listed all of you. I hope you saw that ad, because we truly want to thank you, and I want to thank you again. We also have to have some cheerleaders. When you got a project like this, you have to have some cheerleaders. I think the very first day this was mentioned, Larry Hager called me and said, "Buddy, I hope you can get this done. This would be the greatest thing for Owensboro." And Larry Hager and Frankie's here today, and I want to thank them for coming. And he encouraged me all the way. The Owensboro's love affair with bluegrass music actually began about 30 years ago when IBMA voted to locate the IBMA office in Owensboro. From those humble beginnings, the World of Bluegrass events were created. Those events included the Fan Fest, the trade show, the award show, and the museum. Owensboro hosted these events until 1997, and actually we lost the World of Bluegrass primarily because of the hotel situation we had in Owensboro. But listen, IBMA has continued to grow and flourish, and Owensboro can be proud that they were a major part of establishing the IBMA Trade Association. You know, they say if you build it, they will come. Well, sometimes that means they will come once, and they may not come back. But we're building a facility that they're going to come back. We're going to host a bluegrass show every week, so they're going to come back to Owensboro every week. The museum is large enough to house and display all of the worldwide bluegrass memorabilia we have. It's going to be high-tech, a lot of video, a lot of music. We have over 250 video oral histories as part of our museum that we can change out. Speaking about bluegrass history, we have 5 people here today that are responsible for a lot of this bluegrass history. We have Dale McCory. We have Jesse McReynolds. We have Eddie Adcock. We have J.D. Crow. And we have the newest inductee into the Hall of Fame, Larry Sparks. Thank you, gentlemen, for what you've done for bluegrass music. Thank you for being here today and sharing with you this historic event. It would not have happened without people like this. These guys go on and on. Bluegrass is not an industry, it's a family. Believe me, it's family-oriented, a lot of talent, and Owensboro is so fortunate now to me to be a part of this history. When IBMA came to Owensboro in 1986, Burley Phelan was the director of the Tourist Commission at that time. I know Burley's here today, and Burley, I remember our first festival, the clogging board and all that stuff. We were really just learning bluegrass ourselves at that time, but we've certainly grown into it and learned to really enjoy it. Part of our mission of the museum is to preserve the history of bluegrass music. But part of our mission also is to promote the future of bluegrass music. We do that primarily with the Bluegrass in the School program that Gabriel Gray created a number of years ago, and we have put instruments in thousands of school children's hands. We have Saturday bluegrass lessons, which attended for hundreds of people every Saturday. We have instrument camps, and we'll have more in this new facility. And like I mentioned before, with the theater, we'll have a weekly bluegrass show. So we are promoting bluegrass music and preserving its past. It's going to be an international bluegrass music facility. And, you know, the mayor, I want to backtrack a little bit. The mayor mentioned going up and see the governor. And the mayor, as I remember it, the first trip we went up there, he said, hell no, not no. And I think the second trip, he said no. The third trip, he said maybe. We didn't give up.
No, sir.
And he said yes, and he's right. I told the governor, I don't need to ride back. I can float back to Owensboro. that put the final touch to what we needed to build this museum. I want to thank the museum's been blessed over the years with a board of trustees from all over the United States that come to Owensboro a couple times a year to meet, make decisions about the museum, help us create events like ROMP, so forth. These people are very dedicated. I've never seen a more dedicated group of people. We don't pay their expenses to Owensboro. We don't pay their lodging when they're in Owensboro. And they come and spend 3 days in Owensboro to help promote bluegrass music. I see Dan Hayes here today. Dan was the director for IBMA for what, Dan, 22 years? And one of the better things I ever did in my life was hire Dan Hayes as director of IBMA. Even though he's retired, we didn't let him go. He's on the museum board now, so we're still going to use his talent. Once again, let me thank all the Hall of Famers for being here. It really means something for us for y'all to be here. Thanks to the city commission and mayor, Ted Lawley and Ed Ray. We've been working on these plans now for, I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years. A lot of meetings, a lot of time have gone into these meetings, a lot of people involved. But I'm telling you, the private donors that stepped up initially, that provided the seed money, is what I think turned the governor's head and, made the commitment because of that. So thank you once again for giving your money, encouraging us, and being a part of it. And we look forward to sharing this with you for years and years to come. It's going to be a treasure right here on the banks of the Ohio River. Thank you.
As we talked about, a lot of these projects take so many people to get them off the ground, and we've heard from a few of those gentlemen. And now the next person I want to introduce is the man that is now in charge of keeping it going, keeping the programming that Terry was talking about. There's so many programs that happen throughout the year, things like Randy Lanham works with putting instruments in the young kids' hands and doing so many things in the schools, and continuing that programming, continuing to grow the name. And so it's my pleasure to introduce the executive director of the IBMM now, Mr. Chris Joslin.
Thank you so much, Tim, and I just want to welcome everyone here today. It's truly an honor to stand here today on this long-anticipated day as the International Bluegrass Music joins Owensboro in turning the page on a new chapter. And, it's exciting to see the updated rendering. It's nice to see a shovel in the ground and a construction project taking shape. But, today is really more than about bricks and mortar. It's about the people. It's about this community. It's about the city of Owensboro and Davis County and the state of Kentucky. It's about, as Terry and the mayor and others have mentioned, it's about all the individuals, the companies, the private foundations, all the people who have rallied around this project to make it a reality. It's equally about the bluegrass community, too, of which I'm a part of as well. The artists, the fans, the musicians who have shaped this music through the years, and many of them are here today, and we're honored to have you. These individuals have passed this music down from generation to generation. That's how bluegrass works. I think about Larry Sparks and how Ralph Stanley invested in you as a young musician and singer. I think about J.D. Crowe and your work with Jimmy Martin, and Eddie Adcock and your work with Smokey Graves and Mac Wiseman, and of course Del McCurry with Bill Monroe. But if you talk to each of these gentlemen, I would almost guarantee you that they would tell you about other individuals in their early days, maybe in their teens or even younger, who invested in their lives, who showed them how to play, who inspired them to play this music. And that's what bluegrass music is built on. And this museum and Hall of Fame will certainly reinforce that and promote that. And that's near and dear to my heart. This story, too, I think about the people who have passed that down to me, and that's how it worked in my life. My parents, my older brother who's a musician, a a family friend, Johnny Coleman, who was a great player, wonderful teacher, Larry Paget. I think about a great dobro player who's no longer with us, Gene Wooten. And those folks, they nurtured me in this music. And that's what I hope, one of the things that this museum will certainly be known for. Finally, today, this day is about the strength of all these relationships working together that have kept this dream alive. The dream of a world-class museum dedicated solely to bluegrass music. As we all know, the genesis of this music is right here in western Kentucky, and it can be traced back to one individual. And I'm sure you're already thinking of this gentleman, Bill Monroe. You know, bluegrass has now become an international phenomenon. It's enjoyed all over the world, not just the U.S., but Europe, Australia, parts of Asia, but it can all be traced right back here to western Kentucky. And Owensboro has taken a claim as the capital city of bluegrass. I think Owensboro already had a legitimate claim to be the bluegrass music capital of the world. But let's face it, no other town, city, community is making this kind of investment like Owensboro is making in bluegrass music. And I think investing in this Bluegrass Museum and Hall of Fame just makes it official in my book. And our relationship, I want to thank Paul Schimminger for being here. I think our relationship with the International Bluegrass Music Association to be the physical home of the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame, the place where this great institution lives and is celebrated, is just further evidence of the significance and importance of the Bluegrass Music Museum at Owensboro and the overall story of bluegrass. You know, I've used this analogy before, but it is so true. Since joining the museum last fall, I feel like a quarterback who's been put in the game with a winning team with the ball in the red zone. But I look around here today and I see so many people who have been involved in carrying this ball the length of the field all these years. And today is the day that we cross the goal line. And I'm so happy to be a part of that. I know it's been a long time coming. It's taken a lot of perseverance and energy and a little bit of persuasion. But again, together today, we cross that finish line. That's a wonderful thing. You know, from the very moment I arrived in Owensboro last summer about this time, met with Terry Woodward and others, I could tell there was something special about this season, both for Owensboro and for the Bluegrass Museum. You know, the bluegrass music deserves the best. And in my opinion, today, Owensboro and the International Bluegrass Music Museum is stepping up and delivering on that. You know, this music is indeed Kentucky's gift to the world. And soon the whole world will come here in even greater numbers to explore Owensboro, but to also explore and experience firsthand the richness of this great genre, bluegrass music. So it's my pleasure to have each and every one here today. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you all waiting it out through the heat of the day. This really is quite an event. Quite a celebration. I want to thank the museum board, Terry Woodward, Mike Simpson, Chris Joslin, the new executive director, Mayor Payne, the whole city of Owensboro for having the IBMA be part of this and inviting me here today. It really, this construction that begins today demonstrates further the vitality of the city and its commitment to this wonderful music that we know as bluegrass and the roots that really took hold, as we know, less than 40 miles away down in Rosine. Many of you know the IBMA as the trade association for bluegrass professionals, and it was mentioned earlier by Terry that many of our roots are planted right here in Owensboro, where we had the headquarters for many years and started the festival, the Fan Fest, which was a great celebration to launch bluegrass festivals all over the world. As part of our mission, IBMA encourages worldwide appreciation of bluegrass both yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And the word yesterday is in there purposefully because it is that foundation that we must lean on as we grow our music going forward. It's vital that we preserve and honor and celebrate the heritage of this music so that those that come after us know where it began and can celebrate and play that music that is so great, that's in our hearts and got us involved in this music from the get-go. For that reason, the museum was originally created by the association, by the city of Owensboro, and so many visionaries right here in Owensboro, including Terry, Dan, and Pete Kuykendall, and others. It's a vision that is blossoming today, certainly, as we know. While operated separately, the museum and the IBMA remain closely intertwined, closely connected, because we know the success of each helps the other. We want to further together raise that level of awareness of bluegrass. Our origins share founders, share board members, and we have lots of friendships throughout the entire organization, throughout the entire community. Furthermore, the museum prominently displays the plaques of those in the IBMA Hall of Fame. We know that in the inaugural class of 1991, which is when Bill Monroe, Lester Flatt, and Earl Scruggs were inducted into that Hall of Fame. And today we know that, as mentioned earlier, we'll have a plaque ceremony to really celebrate the newest inductees with Bill Keith, who cannot be with us, rest his soul, and then Larry Sparks here, as we mentioned earlier. He takes his place right next to so many greats in our music, including Del McCurry, Jesse McReynolds, Eddie Adcock, and J.D. Crowe, who are kind enough to be here with us today, and Pete Kuykendall, who I wish were here as well, Kitsy. So on behalf of the IBMA, its board of directors, all of its members, I want to congratulate the City of Owensboro, the museum's board of directors and staff, and the donors necessary to make this a reality. And I want you to know how deeply we appreciate everything you're doing to preserve, celebrate, and illuminate this music. Thank you very much.
Well, I'll have to tell you the truth. I wrote this great speech, and they've just given it. They've covered just about everything I was going to cover, but I am from out of town, and my husband Pete, of course, one of the leaders of IBM and really IBMA when it first started, and he has always been supportive of this museum here, not only with his money, but his vocal applause of it all and participation, and I really wanted to represent him. He's not feeling well these days, and he just couldn't make the trip. And this is just a side thing. I'm just going to brag a little bit. BU celebrates its 50th year publication. This month's issue, you'll love it. It's great. So that's just a little side issue. But Pete, of course, his heart has always been in this organization and the IBMA, for which he was also one of the founders. And I'm pleased to represent him here. I had some things to say, which I've now taken out since we've heard all of them, and they're all right. And you won't have to hear me long. But I would like to express our personal gratitude, that's Pete and me, and I really think I speak for all of our members of IBMA, for all the support given over the years to bluegrass music by the city of Owensboro and now the state of Kentucky, who has really stepped up to help us. Your forward thinking will ensure that our music's history is well preserved and presented to people who visit from all over the world. And I don't know how many museums can say that, really. It's phenomenal how many people come here. As a member of the International Bluegrass Music Association, I am also very pleased that the Hall of Fame will continue to be housed in this part of Kentucky, where both Bill Monroe, the father of bluegrass, and Sam Bush, whom I adore, don't tell anybody, the father of newgrass, were born and raised. It just seems right to us. It really does. And I don't really have anything else to add to what they said because they've said it all beautifully. This is a wonderful museum. All the people who have worked here over the years have really done a great job trying to preserve our music and present it to the people. And I know that people who come from all around the world to see it, they've told me they just love it. And so we appreciate and love all of you. And one last thing. We have a great lineup this weekend at Romp. It's just fabulous. Make sure you go there and enjoy the music. Y'all have a great day, and thanks for inviting me. Thank you.